Ah, so good. Now we've got probably Jean's on his way up. Okay, a few minutes. Just got a mention in public notices. A great friend of Johnny, Jimmy Donnelly, who heaps of you here would have heard play over the years. He's very ill at the moment, but he got to see Johnny, to say goodbye to him in St Vincent's Hospital about 6 hours before Johnny went. But Jim's very crook himself at the moment, so he sort of sends his apologies that Martin's seen him and probably be seeing him again later. Just a beautiful man, beautiful singer from Raglan Road, as you probably remember, and it's a shame to see him so ill. But as I said, he was happy to have a bit of a joke with Johnny before Johnny went as well, which is great to see. That's for Jimmy Donnelly. I'll give you a story. There's a lot of people have helped since Johnny passed in sorting out Johnny's stuff, but I have to pay a lot of thank yous to a few people. My wife Kathy helped me sort heaps of stuff. My son Jimmy over there. My brother Roy, wherever he is there. And his Sunderland shirt. And my two favourite guys from upstairs at Johnny's house, Joe and Norbert. Joe and Norbert have looked after Johnny for years. I've got to tell a story for Norbert. He didn't want to get up, so I'll tell it. When he first met Johnny, in the flat upstairs, Marlborough Street, Norbert was working, I'm going to make this up a bit, Norbert was working, hammering something, and Johnny had just moved in, so he's come upstairs and said, "What the fuck's going on?" And Norbert said, "I'm doing a job," and Johnny said, "Oh, well, what is that job?" And then, of course, he showed him how to use a hammer or something. And they've been enemies / friends ever since. Good on you, Norbert. Beautiful guys. I want to talk about Joe, but it's a bit hard. Joe made the best speech I've ever heard, I think, to Johnny. Johnny didn't want to go into the home. Johnny, like, you know, a lot of people here probably love going into home, but not Johnny Clough. And he said, no way. He'd been in and out a few times. He said, I'm not going back. But our job was with our beautiful friend Barbara here from St Vincent's to talk to John, to try and convince him that it was the only way. And Joe made this beautiful speech about how it was more about dignity than anything else. How he'd fought for years, Joe's done him probably 4 or 5 years, how he'd fought for years to stay in his home, but it was time to go, and he held Johnny's hand, and John said, Joe, that was beautiful. Anyway, that's for you, Joe. Okay, how's our man? You ready to go, Jenny?
Just about.
Okay.
Should I go up?
Yes, is someone coming up?
Yeah, Jimbo.
Go, Jim. This is the aforementioned Jimmy Lachlan Elbourne. The famous, infamous Jimmy Elbourne. Yeah, you can't get to the stage. It's like Pearl Jam concert.
You've got to earn it. You get this elaborate.
You use this one here, Jim.
So I wrote a little poem for Johnny. He was just an absolute legend, and I had to put something down on paper, you know, for him. Well, sort of paper, anyway. Yeah, he was like an uncle, a grandfather, friend, just an inspiring man. The things that would come out of his mouth would really just blow your mind. Something you'd never heard before, and really change how you like look at things, change how you're feeling about the world, and like he had this smile that was like just 10 out of 10, just the best smile around. Like you wouldn't see many people with that on their face. Yeah, really inspiring. Just talks that you'd have just sitting there, and you know he'd have his newspaper and his cuppa or his Guinness, and he used to say this thing was, "What is this thing called love?" And he would talk about how there's all these different ways you could say it, like, what is this thing called love? You know, and it was like, it was just, I don't know, it was a little mind melter, but it was also just so special to me. So anyway, I wrote this song. It's called More Than a 10-Pound Bomb. Alright. Much more than a 10-pound pom. You've been through more than 10 rounds, John. What is this thing called love? We're still working it out, Clough, but we'll work it out soon enough. Thanks, guys. You had a smile to brighten up the worst of days. Genius man with the wisest words to say. Lived more life in your time, John, than 50 plebs could dream of. Absolute fucking legend. Would never change it if I could choose to. Proof they don't make them like they used to. Inspirational doesn't even scratch the surface. You were someone to make others feel they had a purpose. Which is more than most any others in this here circus. More than a 10-pound pom. Love you, Johnny.
Thanks, Jimmy. Johnny was a sort of a grandpa to a lot of my kids. I think they're all here today, except for our Ashley. She's up in Queensland, working saving the whales. And she said she's sorry she couldn't be here, but I said, well, you know, you were Johnny's favourite. And she said, well, he was my favourite. But yeah, she's seriously working in Queensland. Not a bad excuse, but I want a signed note to, you know, why she wasn't here today. Yeah. Oh, you got a note from the mum? Okay, good. How we going, Jeannie? I'm dying up here.
He's coming, I got a little one.
You got good, okay.
I got a little story while he's coming up to plug in. So, somewhere along the line, don't know when this was, Johnny started to... I asked him about Sunderland, or Sunderland, as I like to say, which is not how he said it. And I was like, what is this? What kind of football is this? Soccer? What's it? And he's like, oh, fuck me. And so went into this whole thing. And I said, is it like the NRL? What is it, like American football? And the more he was explaining, the more I was pretending like I didn't know what he was talking about. But he was getting all worked up. You know, sometimes he'd go, and he'd get that sort of... And then somewhere after that, he turned up and he gave me, it might have been after a trip to the UK, and he brought me a Sunderland cup, which was a very strange cup because it was one that had water in the side and you put it in the fridge and it iced up. And I said, but it was about this big. And I said, well, what am I going to put in this? And he said, fucking Guinness. And I said, look at the size of this cup, John. And he said, that's all you can have. I said, that's fair enough. And then another time, I was 12, so I had to wait till I was about 14 to have the full size. And then he gave me another time. I said, well, okay, I'll take it home. I actually have it, and it's in my desk. It's got all my pens and bits and pieces in it. So every time I see that, I think of Sunderland and how I'm probably never going to watch a game, let alone understand. But then he gave me this, which someone around it like Sunderland might like to see. And I don't really understand what it is. He did tell me, I think it's a squashed penny. And it says Sunderland AFC on it. So they've... I don't know what they've done. He might have fashioned it himself, actually, when I think about it. He probably had some kind of system where he pressed it.
The AFC is the angry fucking communists.
That's why he liked it.